an interesting shift on the market. It's related to Visa, which is a card method for those who don't know accidentally. So Visa made first A2A, account-to-account transaction, completed first account-to-account transaction in the United Kingdom with partners Bank, Utilita, and Tink. So basically it was the possibility to pay some kind of utility bill there using account-to-account system. Visa, a card payment method player, demonstrated the ability to also play on the market of account-to-account. This was a first testing transaction. They did it with success. Now Visa seems like have some interesting plans on entering this type of market.
The strategy, it's the tactics for the breakfast. So my opinion is that both Visa and MasterCard, they understand their limitations in terms of the markets. And I think they're kind of in the position, in really controversial position, because the reason why the stable coins and alternative payment methods are popping up as mushrooms after the rain, because we all know that paying by cards costs a lot. It costs for the customers, it costs for the merchants, and it creates the space for optimizing the payments and innovating with the different payment methods. That's why we see the stable coins as a cross-border. And I think it's pretty logical move and the strategical one from Visa. And I think we will see the same from other players, that they becoming the platform for orchestrating the payment, which is not dependent on the cards, which means they see all the movements with the open finance, with the PSD3, with the open banking, and it means that that's a matter of time when customers will be able to quite openly choose between card payments and account payments, and they jumping into the bandwagon. And my assumption is that the time will show how successful they with the new business models and implementation. Definitely, they have a lot of influence over the banks to convince to use the same infrastructure. They doing already a lot of certifications for acquiring and card issuing. So they have all the tools, but let's see how they will operate and how they will show the results financially on those business models. And I think it's important to stress that we're living in 2025, where everyone understands that the payment instruments that we have are not serving all the needs. And that's a matter of time when we'll see a lot of fragmentation into the crypto, into the bank accounts, even with the Vero accounts that European Union has. So that's a logical move. It's good to see the practical results that those account transfers are tested. And let's see how other players are keeping up with those spaces.
It's very important to mention the fact that Visa is not the first time Visa is entering on orchestration market. Visa have products, payment orchestration products and features already delivered and already on the market. Maybe not so popular, but they have these capacities and abilities. A2A is an interesting niche. It's one of the simplest niche from one side. It's very simple niche simple by technology, by the workflow, how to manage with this. So I think they started with the right leg, the right step to make the test one of the most simplest type of transfer. They involved several banks and several utility companies in the UK, which is a good sign. A strong partnership with strong players provide you the possibility to build something new and interesting. My personal expectation is that this is not the last step for Visa on payment orchestration, and it's a signal that the market of payment orchestration starts to be in the trend. So those players who already are on the market, payment orchestration platforms that are already on the market, they will continue. They're just basically approaching to the period of trend, and they will grow significantly. But at the same time, it means they will have some new competitors on the market, some very agile and very smart and very energetic competitors, because a lot of new companies will appear on this market niche. There is an expectation that the payment orchestration platform market in 2030 will increase 10 times comparison with 2024. And it will achieve, the European market, for example, will achieve something 2 billion and something in total value of the market, which means that the market is growing. And as you mentioned, Igor, the fragmentation we see currently in fiat and also it will appear in crypto will give a lot of possibilities and a lot of interesting niches for new businesses to come, which is very great. And speaking about the future, we just read with Igor several days ago, we analyzed some interesting report regarding the vision of global payments.
Yeah, sure. So JPMorgan issued the report which is saying bridging the gap for G20's vision for inclusive and efficient global payments. And it means that we discussed already in the news JPMorgan with the stable coins for the deposit and for institutional players for the settlements for the payments. And I think once again it provides us really great insight that the players like a JPMorgan, they see that the market is underserved, and we tend to think like a G20 economy, that's the biggest country with the biggest economy. Still, we don't have really reliable and cost-effective and real-time instruments to execute the payments. And that's why the reason I think the companies like JP Morgan are moving to the stable coins and they analyzing this gap. So report is really interesting. So it gives a lot of insights, what is happening and what are the metrics of the current markets. And it even potentially be interesting to the fintechs to understand their market and their potential customers. We see a lot of ramp in, ramp out functionalities with the stablecoin and ability to settle the payments with the different currency. I think the market will be growing. Let's take a look on the numbers and take into our visions for the next year.
That's correct. This report basically take a look not on quantitative measurements. This report tries to and basically give a very good, strong overview on qualitative measurements of how the cross-border cross-border payments market currently is working and how it has to look like. The trend is already in place, so some of the companies already started to do this. Settlements in crypto or using crypto blockchain infrastructure for cross-border payments. So excluding fiat from this network of this chain of transfer is a very interesting solution. And what also this report shows is that there is a big need of unifying the standards between different regions. Currently, we have quite unified standards in European Union. We have quite unified standards in North America. Grosso modo, in some parts of Latin America, we also have some standards already unified. In Asia, the same. Now time arrived for unifying the protocols and standards for security, for compliance, for onboarding around the globe. So the JP Morgan report basically shows this, that beside the fact that there is a need for a mechanism for cross-border, easy cross-border transfers, a vehicle that will make this simple and quick, also there is a need for onboarding all regions around the world into one single, let's call it compliance strategy or KCKB strategy, which is honestly a very interesting vision in that report. I recommend to all of our listeners and watchers to take a look on this report and to read it in details. And it will give, for the businesses, it's as you mentioned, Igor, it will give a perspective for the next 10 years. So possibly this year and everything what happened in the last week is the week when we can have a projection in the future and maybe think about some new interesting niches in our businesses or even build some new businesses.
And the last one, I think it's important because it's partially on the compliance and technology side. So you designated Amazon as Google as a critical tech providers to the financial sector. According to DORA, you might be aware, or who's not, I recommend to read. There is a really nice requirement from the regulations in the European Union, which is requiring to prepare for various incidents and disaster runs in the financial instruments. And part of the DORA is to properly slice and mark, let's say, your infrastructure and technology vendors, not even technology, but the vendors in all. And Amazon as Google has been assigned as a critical part. And I think it's really true. Those who knows DORA, that's definitely makes sense. But even if you are not reviewing the compliance, the technical compliance or legal compliance for the financial instruments, everyone is aware that this week we had an issue with the Cloudflare. And it shows that sometimes we tend to think that internet is really stable thing, but then one action and we have this report from Cloudflare that updating some files, they misconfigured the service, and then around 30 million websites were compromised and their availability was an issue, including the financial services. So I think that's a bold move from the regulator to properly put the requirements on the big AWS and Google cloud hosting platform.
Totally agree with this. Several days ago, Cloudflare, several weeks ago, Amazon. My face, I think, is expressively speaking about only as a super supportive for this idea. European Union has to declare this, not only this. My opinion is that European Union has to declare not only these vendors as a critical infrastructure, but also several others. But it's a first step. Europe works in increments all the time. only supportive of this. I have a joke on this. Like, it seems like Google, Amazon, and other platforms will have to provide even the X-rays of their codes to be super compliant and to be, demonstrate the ability to the customers and to regulators that they are good. Because currently, taking into consideration existing security, national security issues or risk that we are facing right now in Europe, this is very important. And this is a step which I think was required 2 or 3 years ago, even maybe before COVID. But at least in the last hour, our European regulators took this decision, which is very good, and I truly support this. I really hope that Amazon and Cloudflare will do their best and will not face the same issues we had this week and several weeks ago.